Hello, this is V. Welcome to a new inking vlog where I capture my journey during the April 30 Inks 30 Days Challenge. Today I will be swatching currently inked pens and I'll show you which inks each of them have. So let's get ready for some swatching time. Okay, so while I get ready, these two pens are the ones that I use currently on the daily basis for my planning and journaling. Here on this lovely leather case by Galem Leather, I have this cute VT21 patch that I adore. But yes, so let me just show you. I have 4 ink pens. These are pens that I inked during I think a swatching time for an in-flight box that I got, and so I have these 3 for that. And then this one, this little tiny one, I really like this pen. However, I think I kind of broke it. But currently it has, well, let me just show you this rubber Oster Café Crema, which is one of my favorite browns, but as you can see, this sample is almost empty, so I'm thinking on getting an actual full bottle for that. So yes, so I have these 4 pens already inked and these 2. Okay, so let's start with the 2 that I use daily. This is one of my favorite pens by Kaweco. This is All Sport Kaweco in collaboration with Moleskine. And as you can see here, it has the Moleskine logo right there. And I really love how it feels, the weight. And I don't remember which nib this has, but let me check. I think it's a fine, yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. So, and this is ink with a Ferris wheel press blue ink. Let me just show you right here. This is Bathurst blue denim, and it's a lovely silver shimmery ink. Okay, here it is, and let me just show you the glitter. As you can see, it's kind of like a silver green glitter right there. I really love this ink and pen combination. It's also easy to write with it, so let me just show you that. Okay, so let's start with the brand. As you can see, such a smooth writing, even though this is a fine nib and shimmering ink. Okay. So the pen and the brand is Ferris wheel press. And this is, I always forget how to write the first part. Yep. Blue denim. And color is blue. And the pen is a Kaweco. I'm just gonna write down AL, and then and this is a fine. I'm also including the Moleskine since it's a collaboration, and then I'm gonna be doing a swatch. Let's see. So in terms of writing with this, with this glittering ink, I don't really see the glitter as much as when, for example, using a dip pen, which is totally what happens with these shimmering inks. But the writing experience overall is great. So okay, so now let's do our writing sample. Right there. And now we're gonna do the shading. So saturation, then this is shimmer. Okay. Oh, and then the rating. Oh no, I run out of space. How? It's okay. It happens. I have a template for this which I'm trying to follow, but let's see, how can I fix this? Okay, so in terms of shading, yeah, there is a lot of lights and darks, and I think the lighter areas where the shimmer is, it's I don't know if that's noticeable here, but maybe after it dries, but I will say that it has, it's not that dramatic though, so I'm just gonna rate it like that. And then flow, yep, I really like how smooth it writes. And then saturation, it's quite readable. Yeah, it's a very well saturated ink. And then sheen, no sheen. And then shade, yes, and definitely shimmer. And now in terms of my overall rating, I will give it a 5 for sure. I really love this ink. This is such a nice blue. It's quite warm, and in comparison to other blues that I have, and even though the shimmer it's not that obvious, I really like how this looks and writes every day when I do my planning and journaling sessions. So I totally recommend for this. And if you're looking for a blue ink with a bit of shimmer. Okay, so now it's all dry, and let me just show you a close-up. Look at that lovely shimmer right there. It's a beautiful green gray glitter. And now in terms of the writing, yeah, I don't really see any of that lovely shimmer. I think do you see it? I don't think so, but let me show you how it looks here on my wigs. And this was done with the pen. For some reason it also looks darker. Let me see if I can capture that glitter. It's very subtle in comparison to this one, but I can still see it. It's like a very light shine. It's also very well distributed. I don't know if you can see that on the F. Beautiful. Okay, so now let's move along to the next pen and ink combination. Okay, and up next we have my other daily journal and planning pen and ink combination. This is a LAMY Safari, and this is the retro white and black with the beautiful black clip. I really like LAMY pens as well. Actually, I love all my fountain pens, but yes. So this is I think it's a fine nib. Let me just see. Yeah, it's a fine nib, and actually I'm not sure if I recorded all of that, but hopefully I did. So, and now let me show you the ink. This is also a Ferris wheel press ink, and I always forget the name. It's Autumn in Auburn, and it came as a trio inspired by Canadian fall season. And as you can see, this sample it's almost halfway. No, actually I only have maybe a third of it left. So I'm really considering on buying this if it's still available. I'm not sure if it is, because a lot of them get discontinued, sadly. And I did see a shop around the Beacon area where they have a bunch of Ferris wheel press, so I definitely will check if they have the colors that I've been aiming for. But okay, so let me get close so that we can see this swatching. Okay, so we have let me see. Okay, so we have the brand and the name, and the color and pen. Such a smooth writing experience as well with these. I had to stop to check the name. It really helps having all of your inks in one place. I have all of them swatching these weeks. I included kind of how I'm doing this challenge on the first video, which I'll try to link here. But yes, so this is autumn in Auburn. And the color is brown. And the pen is a LAMY Safari. And it's a fine nib. Okay, and now let's do this swatch. I stopped using these glass, I don't know, I think it's like a mixer, and because it used to scratch the paper too much. But it's really helpful when swatching inks that have very narrow necks, like this one, for example. My other modeler doesn't really fit there, so it helps having this tool. And what I try to do this time around is not press too much to avoid scratches on the page. Okay, a little bit more, maybe here, there. And okay, now our writing sample. It definitely looks darker on this, kind of like a white paper. The planner that I use is the Hobonichi Weeks, which has a more yellow tone. Okay, and then I don't know if you can hear the birds outside. They're so cute. They start singing like around 4 a.m. They're ready for spring. The weather is not though. It's like last night or 2 nights ago, it was like on low 20s, and it's so sad because we have a cherry blossom tree, and it started to flower, to bloom, because of the change of temperatures. It was so warm. I think at some point we got to 74, and then all of a sudden it just switched, and now, and also it was so windy, so the petals, the flowers actually, the ones that were bloomed, they're all over the ground now, and it's so sad. And also what worries me is that usually when we started seeing blooms in previous years, we also had bees, and now there is no bees. And if the temperature continues being this low, there is not going to be flowers for the bees when it gets warmer, I think. Sorry, I just had to complain. I'm so concerned. What did I even write here? Shade. I wasn't even thinking when I was writing this. And shimmer. So yeah, thankfully, just to finish this conversation, our tree still has flowers and blooms, about, like, I think it's learning to wait. So I didn't even dare getting close to it because it just breaks my heart. So maybe tomorrow I'll go out and take a closer look. I just been looking at it from far away while walking my puppy, ranting instead of rating. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, And now let's see if I did this correctly. Yep. I'm gonna be taking off a couple of days next week and to venture out and see how things are. And to a mini road trip to a couple of places. We're still planning that out. But yes, okay, so shading, I always hesitate because what I see here, like you see, there is not really like that dramatic of lights and darks, so I'll give it a 2. And then flow. Yep. Lovely smooth writing, and then saturation. Yep. It's a very dark ink considering. There's definitely darker browns, but I usually give full ratings when it's readable enough, or like readable, or more than readable. Not light. Okay, so no sheen, yeah, and then no shimmer. Okay, so now in terms of rating, definitely a 5. And let's wait for this to dry. And something that I didn't mention with the previous ink, both of these dry quickly after writing, which is something that I really like, because maybe 3-4 years ago, when I started using fountain pens more on a daily basis, I stopped because the ink that I was trying at the time was too wet. It took too long to dry, so I will make a mess. And at that time I was like into having this perfect layout and a perfect handwriting, so it was very frustrating. Now I don't care as much because now my goal is to just enjoy the process, go for it. If you make mistakes, that's okay, because what I don't want to do, like at the time I stopped writing. At that time I was writing full pages in my Hobonichi Kosen, and that Hobonichi is like 2 times the size of this tiny planner. So although I enjoyed that experience, that adventure with fountain pens at the time, mostly the ink wasn't that fun. So yes, so I really like these 2. So now I'm gonna get ready for the other pens, which I don't really use daily, which is why I wanted to take the chance to swatch them here and then switch to other inks. They're also getting a little bit dry, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to try them and see how they write on this paper. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with this little one because I had such a, how can I say this, joyful experience with this pen. We've been together on this journey of fountain pen discovery, and yes, so I really adore this pen, and I been looking for this specific color combination. As you can see, it's a transparent body with this kind of like grayish transparent clip. I think this one is sold out, or at least when I was looking for it to buy, it was sold out. They had other color combinations, but it's one tip maybe is that if you ink it, or at least that's what I found, It's really hard to clean because I think this is made of paper. I don't know if you can see that line over here, or some type of cotton that is really hard to clean. And also I disassembled the whole thing, and I think I damaged the nib and all of these. So it's still writing, but let's say if I wanted to switch it to another ink, the whole process of cleaning this pen, it's really hard. And I think this is just it was meant to just have one type of color, or maybe not, but I watched, and I'm talking about maybe 3-4 years ago, I watched so many videos where people were switching, or what is that? Oh no. Okay, just a fire truck passing by. Hope everything is okay. But what was I saying? But yes, so at that time I watched a lot of videos where a lot of people change these and repurpose their pens so that they could ink all their colors. And I also gave it a try, and it did work. But now I think I'm only gonna have it on this rubber Oster Café Crema, just because of that experience we had together. So it will never be a Café Crema pen from now on. So yeah, so I'm gonna add a little bit more ink. This is also another ink that I would love to get as a full bottle. Thankfully it's still available, at least the last time I checked. So let me add more ink and we'll be back. Okay, now I'm having a bit of a rough time starting it, even though this one already has more ink. And that's the issue that I had with it after I did what I did with this poor pen. The writing experience wasn't the same, or maybe it's also the ink, maybe it's like a dry ink. So what I do is I add a little bit of that ink just to help it flow, and that worked. So hopefully it won't stop, because it does stop at some point. So especially if I don't continue writing. What is the cup? Okay, so actually, where is my, there. So let's do this. So we have the brand, and the name, and this is a lovely brown green. It's quite muted. Okay, so the brand is Robert Oster, and the color is Café Crema. And this is brown. Now the pen is a Pilot. I forgot, petite. And is that an extra fine? I think I see fine. Yeah, it's a fine ink. It's a fine nib. This is extra fine for me. I love how it's drying. Like, I see, I don't know if it's just my eyes, but I see on the light sections, I see like an orangey green brown, and then on the dark sections I see like more of a brown dark green. Okay, so let's do a quick swatch. As we can see here, this little muddler fits perfectly there. I don't know if you have these available online. I don't know why I see pink as well here, but right there. And then for our writing sample, no. Okay, started to write again. So we have some of these nibs sound scratchy, but it's just the friction between the nib and the paper. Not scratchy at all, and it has a smooth writing experience. It also dries really fast, which could be a good thing for when writing, but a bad thing when you have a pen like this. This dries too quick, and to restart writing takes a little while. Okay, so shading. You can see there, like the S wasn't writing on the top, so but it could just be that maybe I damaged the pen. So because I remember this pen originally was a very smooth writer. Brands also recommend not to use other inks other than their brand. Kind of like to guarantee, I guess, a smooth writing. But the colors that come with these pens, especially the black one, I mean, it's black. I wanted to have something different, so I gave it a try and switched it to this. I think at first I had the Amamoyoi, which didn't help because Amamoyoi from Sailor inks are way too dry. So that didn't help my poor pen to clean that. And I think after that I switched it to a shimmering ink, I think also from Sailor, and that didn't help. And that's when I found videos where I tried to link that where this content creator disassembled this whole pen. So that was a good reference to have, because otherwise, and also at the time I was afraid to do anything with my fountain pens other than writing with them. Okay, sheen. This is gonna be a long vlog, sorry about that. Shimmer. Okay, and then writing, very chatty. And then so shading, it a 3 because it's not as obvious in my at first glance. And then flow, yeah, it's very flowy, even with the pen maybe being broken. Yeah, it's a very smooth experience writing. And then saturation, this ink is quite readable, even though in comparison to others that we've been trying, it's lighter, but quite readable. No sheen, shade, yes, shimmer, no. Rating 5 for sure. I love this ink. Definitely I will get a full bottle whenever I get a chance to remember that, because sometimes I just forget. And since I already have 2 inks that I've been using daily, I don't really need to get more full bottles except for this one. But yes, so I adore this ink. I'm gonna wait for this swatch to dry. It looks kind of like a flower, but yeah. And this is a great pen and ink combination for sure. And I'll definitely look for this little pen to see if they have these ones. Okay, so we have 3 more pens to go. Let's just start with this Kaweco Perkeo, since it has a brown ink. And this one, it's a much darker ink in comparison to this Café Crema. I consider this brown, even though now that I look at it, it kind of looks orange. But yes. Let's see. Did I give a close-up? I don't think so. Let me just give you a close-up of this all dried. Such a lovely ink. And let me show you how it looks on my wigs. And as you can see there, this sample is just exquisite. It has everything. This you can definitely see that lovely shading, and it's definitely because of the pen. So beautiful. I really love this ink. Like the darks and the lights here are just beautiful. Okay, so moving along, let me just get this page ready. And this is a Kaweco Perkeo transparent phantom pen. And as far as I remember, I don't think I like these ones as much as the sport. But in terms of ink, this is a Colorverse Sidereus Nuncius. So it's right here. I have this lovely sample from Ink Journal, and let's get a little closer. Okay, so we have the brand. Oh, I forgot to check the nib of this. This is a fine, yeah. And then the name, it doesn't feel like a fine though. It looks like a medium. Hold on. Okay, never mind. It is a medium. Yeah, I do know my Kaweco nibs. So I actually got I think all of their sizes, all the nibs, and I tested them out a while ago, and yeah, I was right, it's a medium. Okay, so let's continue with the name. I don't know why it's a little harder to write with this body of pen. color. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the ink is kind of like trapped over here on the bottom, so there is not much in here, and no matter how much I shake it, it's not going down. And I'm wondering if it's because maybe it's dry already over here, and that's what I see. It could be that, but I think that's the reason why I'm having a little bit of a challenge writing here in some areas. But okay, let's continue. Okay, so pen, and so this is Colorverse Nuncius. Okay, it's writing much better. And then the color is brown. It's a very dark brown. Then the pen is a Kaweco Perkeo, and this is a medium. Almost looks black. Okay, so let's continue with the writing sample. I mean the swatch. Wow, look at that. Yeah, that's quite dark. I was just checking this morning like the browns that I have, and I don't have that many. I thought I did, but time to get more more samples to try. Okay, so let's see. And quick brown. Okay, I'm liking this, and I don't know if it's the nib or the pen and the ink, but I don't know if you can see those thick and thins over here. It may also be the way I'm writing, I don't know, and also pressing maybe on the paper. This usually happens with the pens, not really with fountain pens. Yeah, you see that? I'm wondering if it's because like it gets dry and then the ink, there's not much ink, and then it flows after writing a while. Very interesting. Okay, so let's continue with shading. And that was a little bit of an ASMR. Okay, so almost done here. I noticed that my writing changes based on the pen. It's also hard to write and record because the angle, I'm blocked by the camera which is in front of me. So all of those things, I guess, change the whole writing experience for sure. Okay, so now we're ready to give this ink and pen combination some ratings. So in terms of shading, no shade, nope, not at all. Flow, yeah. Okay, just because of that, I'll give it a 2. Because when it starts, it's, yeah, it doesn't start well. Saturation, yes. I'll give it a 5 if I could. Of the chart. And then no sheen, no shade, no shimmer. And something that I kind of regret not including is the drying time, which is very important to have, I think. Like I mentioned previously, with the 2 inks that I use for daily writing, drying time is key when writing daily. For exploration and kind of like having a fun time with your inks and pens, drying time may not be as crucial, but for daily writing for sure. Okay, so in terms of rating, I will give it a 1 just because this ink, this brown, is too dark for me, and also there is no shading, no sheen, no shimmer. I'm a shimmer person, so just imagine if it doesn't have sheen or shade, much less shimmer, then yeah, it's a 1 for me. So now in terms of drying, it seems that it dries quite fast. Let me just try it here on this paper because I'm a little curious. Let's give it maybe 10 seconds. And no. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Always test your inks before buying a full bottle to see, you know, like the drying test, because it can just ruin your whole daily experience. Okay, so now let's move along to the next pen and ink combination. Actually, before the next swatching time, let's check how this looks. And it kind of looks like it has some sheen over here, and I see some green as well and red. Interesting. But here it's kind of like a green brown. A plain side, it looks like a black brown ink. And here's how it looks on my wigs, just to see if there is any difference. Since I use a deep pen, the writing sample, as you can see, there is a lot of thin and thick. Interesting. And I also did a test when I got the samples in my ink journal box, and this is the inspiration for my swatching layout here. This is by ink journal, and as you can see, it has a section for drying time for 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 and 30 seconds. So actually at the 30-second mark it still wasn't dry, and I also had a no for me. That angry octopus. It's so cute. I love this sheet. This is very helpful. If you don't want to do like all this writing and repetition, you can just get a sheet like this that has all of this information, and it's really quite helpful. Okay, up next we're going to switch to this other Kaweco just to give kind of like a comparison of my writing experience with this sport version. And let me see, this one was ink with Colorverse ink. I have a lot of Colorverse inks, especially after getting the advert calendar. They had lovely colors though, and I adore Colorverse. It's a South Korean brand. I also had a sheet for this. So this is where is the ink? Right here. It's Ganymede, and it's a purple base ink. So let's see how it looks on this paper. It's a good thing that where is it? Here. I did this, I tried to start my pens on another sheet, and this is not the color. This is actually Colorverse Bow Shock, which is a blue ink. So Ganymede is actually on this lovely TWSBI pen. I love the name of this pen. This is Eggplant Purple. Okay, so let's get ready for my sample. Okay, so brand, name, and color, and the pen. So the brand is Colorverse. And the name is Ganymede. I remember when I was little, my dad read a book about Ganymede. I forgot the name. Color Purple. I don't remember if I read the whole book, but I remember about the story, a little bit of it. Okay, and the pen is TWSBI. Oh, TWSBI. And over here it says TWSBI T. What is T? Okay, so this is a TWSBI Echo T, and I'm looking at the website. It says Echo T has a slightly more pronounced grip section to help with learning correct writing posture for kids, new enthusiasts, and anyone who likes a little bit more structure to the grip area. Okay, that's good info, which I forgot about. Okay, so TWSBI, and I totally messed up the spelling of TWSBI. Okay, so this is TWSBI Echo T, and this is a fine nib. It feels like a medium nib though. Okay, it's a fine. And let's go ahead and take care of our sample. And since this is a long vlog, my batteries are already running. My batteries are almost gone, so I have to recharge. Wow, that's a lovely purple. And now I see some blue there on the writing. Let's see, so for our sample we have, even though I don't really use this is my only TWSBI pen, I don't use this as much. However, my first impression of this pen was I was amazed by this pen because of how smooth it writes, and I also like how the weight is and the body of the pen. It's a really nice writing experience for sure. And the only issue that I had was that it was too heavy when having the cap. But now I just use it without it, so it's okay. Okay, and then we have flow and saturation. Almost there. Even though this is a light green, I really like how it's writing on this paper. It almost looks duochrome. Okay, and then rating. Yay, everything fits. Okay, and now let's give it a rating. For shading, I do see a lot of darks and lights, and also I think it's a dual shading ink. Flow, definitely a 4 for that, even though I don't know, there's a little bit of friction, but it may be because it's a dry ink, but overall it's a good writing experience. Saturation, I'll give it a 1 just because it's a very light ink. I will give it a 2, but I don't want to how can I say this, I don't want to give the impression that it's a dark ink by any means. And in some of my 30 inks 30 days samples, since I was using mostly the pens, the inks tend to look darker, so, and it gave the impression that it was a dark ink when it wasn't really, especially when using fountain pen ink. So yeah, no sheen, definitely shade, no shimmer, and I'll give it a 5, even though it's a light ink, just because I like this type of inks, and in comparison to other light color inks, this is not that light for me. And it's a lovely purple blue, I think. maybe even gray. It has a lot of body and a lot of dimension. I like those type of inks. It's very interesting. So I'll wait for this to dry and we'll see how it looks, and then compare to the other samples I have. Okay, so now let's see how this looks all dry. It's such a lovely purple. I really like this. Really nice. And now let me show you how it looks on my Hobonichi wigs. Right here. It definitely looks darker. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. That's a very clear example of never trust your first swatches, like especially if you use a deep pen. And I also notice when doing tests, an ink can look totally different in different pens and also in different nibs. So that's something definitely to consider. Oh, and by the way, this deep pen was a fine Pilot Iro Utsushi, which is right here. And yeah, fine nib. Oh no, I actually lied. It's a medium nib. And here's the sheet where I did my very first impressions of this ink. And for drying time, it's all the way, yeah, it dries really fast, and I marked it as I like it. Okay, now our final ink for this vlog 30 inks 30 days session is in this pen, which I showed you previously, and this has a Colorverse, oh, okay, that was a little hard to open, Bow Shock blue ink, which is right here. It's also a quite dark ink. So let's get ready. Okay, so let's start with the brand and I'm checking my notes just because of how this is writing right now. It seems like you know, when you have those pens that don't have that much ink, you know, the regular pens, I remember. Okay, so now let's continue. Okay, I had to go and give it a shake just because this is a sheening ink, and it looks also like a dry ink just because of how it's writing right now. Okay, so this is a Colorverse ink. No. Such a different experience. Colorverse. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Oh well. Bow Shock, and this is a blue ink, and the pen is Kaweco Sport, and it's a fine ink. Maybe if I switch to a medium nib on this pen, the writing experience will be better. Okay, let's continue with the little swatch here. Okay, that's intense. I do have a bunch of these blue base inks with red sheen, and from quite a few brands. They do tend to like this color combination and effect. Okay, so let's continue with the sample. Kaweco brown. I think my first experience with one of these, with these inks, was with a Sailor. Was it Sailor or a Pilot? And I was impressed with that combination of that blue and red. This one also has a very good sheening. And actually this is a little better, because the other brand that I tried first, the sheen will just go over the paper, like it will just spread everywhere. And I just gave it a test on my other sheet, and it doesn't do that, which is good. However, as you can see right now, the writing experience is not that great. Jumped over. It could also be because it dried on the pen, because it's been here for a while. Okay. It's recommended to use your fountain pens when they are inked with shimmering and shiny inks or dry inks, because it could damage the pen. Saturation. And it definitely won't be a real good writing experience. Okay. No, this is shimmer. Okay, and then rating. I think I'm pressing too hard right now. I can feel it. Okay. Actually, I can see it on the page. Which is not that good for your wrist, I think. So I'm trying not to press that much. Just to relax my hand and my wrist. Okay, so now let's see. Shading. Not really, even though it's supposed to have like darks and lights, but not right now, at least not on this sample. Flow, 0. Saturation, yeah, it's a very well readable ink, as you can see there. Now sheen, yes. Shade, no shimmer. Now rating at 1, just because this whole writing experience was awful. But again, it could be because of me not using this pen for a while, so it may be dried. Sometimes what fixes this issue is maybe dipping your pen on the ink that you have here, but it's quite messy, especially when having a sample. But yes, so I'll wait for this to dry just to show you that lovely sheen. So be back in a bit. We are back to take a closer look to our final ink and pen combination sample. Wow, look at that. I know that I gave this a 1 rating, but look at this. I will give it a 20, 100. Wow, this is so beautiful. Okay, I love that sheen. It's not even red, it's kind of like a pink fuchsia, maybe. Oh, look at that. That's a lovely, lovely sheen. And here is my sample on the Hobonichi Weeks right there. Look at that. I can definitely see a little bit of that lovely bright blue here, but it's mostly just that sheen, which I think also contributes to make it darker in those areas. And I was mentioning the, oh yeah, it was this one, Dominant Industry Lapis Lazuli right there. And this is the one that was very messy. I have a lot of those though, that red sheen. Like, I don't know if you can see that there. But yes, so I have one more sample here on this sheet. It's not as obvious here, maybe because of the paper. What you can see mostly here is the that beautiful blue shading with just a bit of that sheen. Also in the writing sample, you don't see I'm getting confused. The sheening as much, only a little bit there. Is mostly the shade. You can definitely see the sheening here. Look at that. Isn't this beautiful? Look at that. And I definitely gave it a no for me. It does seem like a dry ink though. And let me just show you here where we have a lot of that. Okay, never mind. I don't know if you can see that, but that can happen to maybe most inks, maybe some. But I don't know if you can see how it is spread all around. But yes, definitely playing with your inks, testing on different papers, testing on different pens, the pens, fountain pens, can help determining if you should get a full bottle. If you have samples is the way to go though. Definitely get samples if you're looking for a specific color. In my case, I'm looking for the perfect brown, so I'm trying to get samples. Ink journal, the boxes that they have monthly also helps discovering new colors and inks and brands for sure. Let me know which of these inks was your favorite. Let me just show you also how everything looks here. There is bleeding here on the swatch, which is usually what happens because of the concentration of ink in those areas. This one, however, has a lot of ghosting. But really no bleeding when writing. Yeah, and this is all for now. Thank you so much for joining me on this swatching session and this 30 inks 30 days vlog. I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully it won't take as long as now. But yes, take care. See you soon. Bye bye.